welcome to day 13. It's Wednesday and I've got another day in. Yesterday I stayed in because Glenn is expecting a parcel. Royal Mail emailed me a couple of days saying, oh, it'll be with you Tuesday. So I stayed in. Didn't arrive. As I said to him, you know, mine and Mishka's port post is more reliable than Royal Mail. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, so hopefully it'll arrive today. Oh dear. So yesterday afternoon I cut out all the pieces for the mini carry-all kit from the Quilters Traders Trading Post that I brought from the MEC. I have got to say, this is all the pieces cut out. This has got to be the most generous, and I said to Glenn yesterday when he got home from work, because he had to work extra as well. We didn't get home till 4:30 rather than 2:30. Oh dear, it all happened yesterday. And anyway, I said to him, I said, this has got to be the most generous when it comes to fabric kit I've ever brought for a quilting project. The amount of fabric that you have left over, I can quite, especially the main fabric, it's all that left over. So I've definitely got enough there for a front of a project bag, but I can't decide whether to do my cross stitch version or the one I love more than anything, you know, the large plus with the handles, because there's all this as well left over. I can't believe it. Talk about generous. So it'll be interesting to see if this one is the same. It looks like there is a lot of fabric there. So yeah. Oh, so far well impressed. So obviously I can't show you the because it's a paid for pattern, the measurements or anything, but I would suggest, let me see if I can, so I can just show you without showing anything. Is what I do when I'm cutting pieces out for something like this. Let's cover up the measurements. Is with a pencil I mark off every one that I cut, and I just find it easier because then you're not overlooking the numbers that you've just done. So the plan today is, because it is just after 8:30, obviously, you know, I had a quick shower this morning, didn't bother doing anything because obviously I ain't going nowhere. So I just blow dried and left. Yeah, so we're going to put this together, I think, today. So ironing board's got to come out. Set up my machine with my walking foot because I'm using foam. Also, for the outer pockets here, because I didn't actually have enough of the foam, but you know what I mean, it doesn't bother me anyway. I'm just using the normal 80-20 wadding for the pockets, which is fine because she does suggest that anyway. On the back here, she's got, because of the thickness of the bag when constructing, it's easier to have a lightweight wadding in the pockets. To give the bag body, use a thicker wadding for the body of the bag, but be aware of what your sewing machine can handle when choosing wadding. I'm quite lucky because I've got a semi-industrial, so I know that my machine can handle that. But I thought, you know what I mean, it'd be nice having the different with the pockets. So oh my gosh, we're going to make this today. As you saw there, the walking foot is on. That's my binding and my handles. So it says layer up the main body outer fabric pieces right sides up on top of the corresponding wadding and quilt as desired. So that's not it. Where's the picture? Yeah, I always get that confused. Right, okay, so this is the main, that's all the lining, which is separate. Right, okay, so there's my lining fabric. And because that is that. So are they the same? Yes. So that's that. So where is my, oh, here they are. So more linings. More linings. So these are all the main body pieces. So lay them on and then quilt. I think I'm going to give my fabric pieces a good iron. I have put the iron on. I haven't set the steam because I don't normally have steam. So main bag outer pieces, right sides up on top of the corresponding wadding. Right. Side pocket. Okay, right then. Okay, right. So let's do this then. Right then, okay, I've marked all my pieces. So what I actually did, if you see there is a drawn line, that's with the heat erasable pen. And I measured the piece of fabric, then I halved it to get my centre line. Then on the bigger pieces, I've done 2-inch lines across. And then on the small, there's 2 smaller pieces, which I'm assuming are the ends. I did the same. I halved the middle, and then I measured 1 inch across. And I will say I've used one of my new rulers that I got. It's brilliant. It is so handy. So, okay then, now I've got to quilt it. If you notice, there's no back because obviously the lining goes in separate. I have chosen a green Aurifil because I do like my Aurifil thread. And I have upped my stitch length. And because I am using a Bosal, I have actually reduced the pressure on my foot as well, so it will be easier to glide under. I am just putting a couple of pins in, and in a minute when you see me stitching, you will actually notice that, let's show you on this one for instance, that I will start in the middle. So you always start in the middle of anything that you quilt, so start in the middle. And say for instance, if I go my top here and I go down, then my next line I'll go up and then like that. Okay, and then the opposite on this side, because then if you go all in the same direction, it will twist the way you've gone. So you go down, across, up, down, like that, and it will actually reduce the twist in your piece. Okay then, so finish pinning these. And then we'll start the quilting part. As I say, I've chosen a nice green to match. Well, say match, it will be seen, but you know, it won't be. It will be subtle. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay then, so last piece for this. And then when I quilt the pockets, I will use my cream Aurifil for that. But yeah, right, okay, so there's them done. Let's try not to move this, you know, as much, because obviously they've all been cut to size. Normally when I do my quilting, I'll cut them larger and cut them down, you know, cut the pieces larger, quilt it and then cut it down. But it's not like this in the pattern, and I'm trying to follow the pattern. So as always, I can show you, you know, let you know what I think. But as I say, when it comes to the amount of fabric you get, you cannot fault Emma, I think her name is, who is the daughter and the actual designer of these. And oh, the amount of fabric you get is just phenomenal. Okay then, let's go over to the machine. Right then, I just quilted a whole piece and realised I hadn't pushed the play button. Lucky I checked. Right, let's do it again on this piece, shall we? Oh dear, let's move that over a little bit. That's better. That's better. Right, there we go. Right then, okay, so I've quilted all the pockets, and if you see on this, like this style fabric, it's like got lines, so I've just gone in the lines, so I've gone down there, across there, and you know, and this has got a front and a back, so I've just picked the nice bits that I would like to showing. So but yeah, okay, so next up, what we got to do next? All right, binding the pocket instruction. Okay, yeah, pennies clicked. So what it means basically is on the longer edge. Right then, okay, so this has taken a bit of what's the name. So I've got me binding, so you actually bind the pockets like you would a quilt. So you get your 2.5 inch strip, which is what is basic for binding, and you've got to sew across there, flip it over, and then sew it by hand. But by the looks of it, she's actually done it on the machine, but she does suggest doing it by hand. So I'm going to see what it looks like when I've flipped it over. So then I'm going to sew these on, okay, they're all on the pockets. Sew this across here, give it a press, and then we'll decide. Right then, okay, so as you see, I have stitched and pressed all the pieces over. So as I say, you do it just like you would a quilt. So now I've just got to hand stitch them back. Yeah, I could do it on the machine, but I like a good old hand stitching on my binding. I don't know why, I've always been like that. So yeah, you know what I mean, you could quite easily just stitch across there and job's done. But yeah, so okay then, right, I am going to sit here and stitch these on. Let's get my binding needles. All I want, here we go. No, not that one. All I want is a diddler. There we go, that's it, nice and thin. Right. Okay. Now the binding stitch is just like the old hem stitch. Basically, you grab a little piece of hiding this. Hang on. Let me get this thread, and I'll show you. Hang on. Let me get some smaller scissors. Right, okay, so I am just going to knot this. I wouldn't normally, but it's all going to be in the seam anyway. Right, okay, so let's start long first and then going down to the small ones. That's the way I normally work. Okay then, so right, you hide your thread, your knot. Right, so I will see if I can zoom in a bit for you. So what you do is you grab a little piece of the bottom and then just a thread of the top. So it's just an invisible, there you go, see, it's just an invisible little stitch. This is what you have in you use in needle turn applique, so they call it the applique stitch, but obviously dressmakers call it a hem stitch. It's all the same stitch basically. It's just to hide, there you go, look, just to make it look nice and neat. Right then, and then by the looks of it, I've got to do all this again round the top when it's all been put together. So we will do that when we get to it. Yeah. but you don't go through to the front, okay? You just pick up a piece before the wadding, or if you know, a little piece of the wadding, but you don't actually go through to the front of your work. There we go. Okay, I'll be back when all this lot has been hand stitched, and then I think it's the construction. We can start actually putting it together, which will be nice, won't it? Hi, sorry, I forgot to do the recording. I have an outside. I don't believe that. I don't believe I did that. Oh, dear me. Right, okay, so basically what you have is you have a flat pocket here, 2 pockets here on the outside, and then obviously your flappy pockets there. Right, so basically all you did is, oh, I don't believe I did that. I get carried away, that's my problem, is that you just line on this piece here, you put in a couple of pleats to make that piece of fabric match. I would say I did have to change my thread because my Urafil kept breaking. But I do have an industrial spool for my bag making, and that is a lot stronger. So I used that. So basically now all I've got to do is put the line, make the lining up, plop it in the bag and bind it and put the handles on. So that's basically it. So I'm just checking to make sure that I've caught everything, because there is a lot of layers. Definitely don't use Bozal in this part with this. It'll be way too much, I tell you, it really will. I've missed a couple of bits there, so I'm going to unpick that and do that again. It's only a couple of bits here though, so that's fine. Just where I've missed the outside fabric. But yeah, overall, I have enjoyed it. It's a nice size bag, I will say that. It is a nice size bag. So, right then, let's get this undone. And then I can just stitch up that piece. So also as well, oh gosh, let's get that right done up. Also I put the 2 long bits on first, then the 2 short bits, and then did the sides all the way round. That's the way I put it together. So yeah, I haven't caught this at all actually. So right, okay, I'm going to do that side again. I'll be back in a minute. Right then, okay, I've just gone over all the seams again just to make sure I've caught everything in now. Now, what I've got the gist of, this may be where I start changing things, to be honest. So, she has actually done it where you put the line in. Oh, hang on. No, you make the lining and put the lining in. Push the lining in the bag. Bind around the top, then put the handles on, and I don't like the idea of seeing the stitching on the inside, so I'm probably going to make the handles and put the handles on now, and then I'm going to make the line and line it, because I just don't like the idea of the stitching in the lining there. So that is probably going to be the only thing I change, to be honest. Oh, apart from I'm making my handles shorter. Her handles are quite long, and I don't want it as a long one. I just want 2 little short handles. So, yeah, that's going to be my differences is, I reckon, is that going to be enough or not? I might even see if I can include the handles in the lining. Actually, I think I'm going to, yeah, I am. I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Right. We'll do that, shall we? Right, so we just got to make the lining just like we did the outer one. And I'll do the handles. And then I'll see if that works. Right then, okay. So this is what I mean, okay. This is the actual pattern where if you see her handles are on the outside and she puts them on last, and I don't like the thought, like I said, of the stitching being on the lining. So what I've done is I've shortened the handles, because if you see on that is quite a long handle for me anyway. Bear that in mind, it's for me, my choice. So I have made shorter handles. I've included them in the actual bag itself. Got the lining in. Now I'm going to bind the whole lot together and then I'll hand stitch it into the inside. So now when I pick up my little bag, it will have dinky little handles, which is what I prefer than the longer handles. Right then, so let's do the binding. Right then, okay, the bag is finished and look at the state of my workbench. I'm going to tidy this up. I'm going to show you the finished project, and then my parcel's just arrived, but poor Glenn's haven't, and the postman reckons it could be now tomorrow. What more can I say? Anyway, I'll be back in a minute. Right then, okay, it is actually now 25 to 12. I've been up here all morning. It's finished. I'm glad I did the handles the way I did, I will say, but that's my choice. I would recommend the pattern, and I'm sure I saw that this mini carryall, it's got kit there, but I'm sure she had it as a pattern on its own. The only thing I would say you would need if you're using the Bosal and that is a walking foot. It would honestly, yeah, so you know, and a heavy duty thread. But as I say, this is hers, so with the longer handles, but hers has been put on the front and the back of them in the middles here, where I've included mine in the binding, and mine's little short ones like this. So in here, as at the moment, I've just put in that pattern and the blanket kit that I brought, which is patchwork and crochet, so I'm very inquisitive, so I'm starting that. So that is that. I have a pocket here at the end, at both ends, and I have the sticky outy pockets there, and I've managed to fit my pattern nice in there. So I'm really happy with it, I really am. So yeah, it was fun to make. It was fun to make. Yes, I would recommend. Definitely, as I said, you know, there was plenty of fabric left over for me to make something else. The only thing I would say is when you're actually putting those seams together, and if you are using the Bosal, I would go over it a couple of times. I did, just to make sure on the seams, and that's my bottom. So yep, I am really, really happy with my little bag. So it will be starting the quilt, the crocheted quilt thing next, which I've never done before. Right then, so as I said, I got a parcel which I'm expecting, so let's open this and have a look, and then I better go downstairs. Yes. Oh, there's one of them in here that I'm very, oh yes. Right, okay, I ordered some more cozy fabric because I thought, you know, why not? They've got some beautiful stuff in which they've just arrived from where I get it from, and this obviously ain't going to be the Halloweeny autumn. These are more bright fun ones, and I got this. Look at that, I love that. This is really, really cool. Look at little monsters. I think that's brilliant. That's brilliant. This one is, oh my goodness me. Look at that. And I got extra. There should be extra here. Yeah, I think, oh, what's that? No, I think there is. Yeah, it should be extra here. I managed to find a poppy fabric to go with my bag fabrics for the charity this year. I haven't been able to find a poppy fabric in this stretch for the yarn cozies, but this one includes red, it's got the cream, but it's got the purple, and we all know that, you know, with the Legion, the purple ones represent the ones for the animals, like, you know, the horses and the dogs and the pigeons, because that's all where Don't Shoot the Wren Messenger, that's where that comes from, because they use the pigeons. But yeah, honestly, I weren't going to show you it until the nearer the time, but I am going to, because I think that is just stunning. So this one won't be made up this time because obviously it's going to go with the poppy fabric. So I'll put that right there now. Oh, I'm so happy with that. I really am happy that I made, because sometimes you don't know what the size of the print is going to be. But these three, if I can start them tomorrow, can be in the shop on Friday. So I think that's cool. But these little monsters, they're adorable, aren't they? And the cutie snails. So yeah, so these three will be in the shop hopefully on Friday. But as you know, I'll keep you all informed. But this one, I'm so happy with this one. Right then, okay. I am going to disappear now for the day. As I say, it's been a bit of a hectic long one with the bag making. And I will say, hand sewing that binding around the inside of the bag is a bit of a challenge, because obviously you've got this all, you know, sticky uppy fabric, you know, wadding that you're using. But there you go. Okay then, so as I say, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to go downstairs and have my lunch. The lad is still on the bed, so I'm going to be waking him up in a minute. It's very hazy outside, but my goodness me, is it hot. That's what you get when you live near the coast. It's really weird, because sometimes when you're definitely down at the sea, one year Glenn and I were walking down along the beach, and the temperature, you could feel the air just drop, and then this mist just rolls in. It is so spooky. It looks like, because I can see the sea from here, and it looks like that we've got the mist has rolled in from the sea now. It's lovely to see. Cool, you can actually see it rolling in. You really can. But that temperature drop is unbelievable. So anyway, I'm so chuffed with this. So chuffed. That is going to go right in my stash, because I'm going to start making them probably, well, it will be the beginning of next month. Okay then, right, so I am going to love you and leave you all. I'll be back tomorrow, so please take care, stay safe. As always, my lovelies, happy crafting. Bye.